Hi everyone, it's Preppin' Mama back to share a little bit with you about who I am. I am a mother of 7. My husband and I have been married 27 years. Yes, they're all ours. No, we're not Catholic or Mormon. We just like kids, and we always have. And before we had children, we had 8 years of marriage together where we worked with kids. So it seemed like a natural progression to go ahead and start our own family, and then we just kind of really liked them, so we had more than average, right? And that makes our prepping a little bit different, and there's other things that make our prepping a little bit different, but I'll share those with you as we go along. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about how long I've been prepping, formally prepping, I guess, about 13 or 14 years now. I started right around the time my 4th child was born, or just before, and I've continued on. My prepping has evolved since then. I originally started out buying number 10 cans of flavored TVP and MREs and different things like that, and then I went on to doing grains and beans and buckets, and I still have that. And now I've been dealing with the working pantry for a lot of years, and I still have my grains and beans, but I'm working on different things. A lot of things have changed in our lives. We have added more children, and we have special needs kids and different health issues that we're dealing with. So I'll talk a lot about prepping with special needs and with dietary restrictions and health issues. So I don't know if anyone's really addressing that right now on YouTube, but I will be, because that's my life, and that's basically what I'm doing. I'm going to share real life prepping with you and how it looks for our family, who's a little different, or maybe we're not so different. Maybe you guys have the same issues, some of the same health issues that we do. Maybe you have special needs kids. So hopefully I can be a resource to you or an encouragement to you, because I know as a special needs mom, I could use some encouragement, and so maybe you can too. So I've been prepping for about 14 years. Like I said, it's evolved a lot. I've been a home cook for over 35 years. Probably if I had to do things over, I would have gone to culinary school. I really like to cook. I like to cook different things. My pantry is not simple because I like to try different things, and we are gluten-free. My husband and I at least are gluten-free, and half of our children. And my husband and I are dairy-free, and some of our children are also dairy-free. So I experiment with a lot of different grains and a lot of different things, and I'd like to share that with you as well. So I'll be sharing a lot about that kind of thing and alternatives to food preps when you have dietary restrictions like that, or others too, because we do have other restrictions. Those are like major ones. Okay. I've always loved preparedness. I really am one of those people, and maybe you can relate, that feels like I was born about 100 years too late. I feel like the homestead way of life and the preparedness and way of life is for me. And although I have to say, we do live near town. We do live on a ½ acre near town. We are working on collecting more property around us, but we are not your typical homesteaders that have land outside of town. We live near town. There's a lot of benefits to that, and that's where we are now, and I have no intention of moving out further. We did that before. It didn't work out for us for a number of reasons. It's basically not in the plan for us, really, to continue, to get further out and to do that. So our prepping is very much concentrated on, and I'll say this, I am active online and I am in prepping groups. I feel that the most important thing we can do to prep is to work on our skills. So your skills are your #1 asset when it comes to prepping. And I know everyone's like, well, you gotta have food storage, you gotta have this. Yes, work on that stuff as you can. And that's part of my philosophy, is we work on stuff as we can, but we're still living life. We still are taking care of our families. We're doing what we need to do. We're not allowing prepping to take over our lives. It's more of a different mindset. It's a different lifestyle, and it's just a different way of life. But be mindful that when you're teaching your kids, or when you're exploring different subjects to learn yourself, that is where the value is knowing how to do things. And for example, right now, my son, my husband, and my father are at the shooting range, and they're practicing, they're target practicing. They're practicing shooting, and they're using different guns. And so that's just one of the things that we try to teach our kids, right? And there's a lot of other things that I have a list, really, that we try to teach our kids. So anyway, so I already mentioned I got started with the number 10 cans of TVP, right? We don't eat soy anymore, so I actually ended up getting rid of that. But that's how I started. I started with MREs. My boys love MREs. I don't know what's wrong with them. They love them. I still have some. I probably should have more, but that's not where my concentration is for prepping anymore. It's evolved. I've come a long way. There's a lot of different things that I have going on now. I always have too much going on considering my responsibility load, but that's just the way I am. So where I'm at right now is I'm taking care of my working pantry. I'm working on building it up a little bit more. We had a little incident in our food shed. Actually the floor caved in. We're not really sure exactly why. We've been investigating, but in the meantime, I'm reevaluating some things, and I've moved my food storage. I've gone through it, and I've moved my working pantry for food storage that I have on site into my freezer room for now. And we are actually going to be repairing our food shed with a concrete floor, so that will never happen again, right? But basically, I think what happened was originally that shed was not built to hold food. And I think what happened was the moisture came up, and it must not have been built with pressure treated lumber, and there was definitely no vapor barrier. So if you can just imagine what might happen there, I think the floor just kind of rotted out, and it couldn't take the weight of my bucket, because I did have some buckets in there. Although I have to say my long-term food storage is kept off-site. I do not keep that at my home. So basically, I just keep working on things, and I have different things that I'm working on, and I keep track of them. And I think the important thing is that we just keep moving forward in our preps. We don't allow it, to become an obsession. And also, I try not to focus too much on the reasons I prep. Some of them. Obviously, we live in earthquake territory, so that's going to be a concern of mine. And I do have reasons that I prep, right? We all do. And that often influences how we prep, right? And that's great. But I find that to keep my stress levels down, because I do have a lot of stress in my normal everyday life, I don't concentrate too much, and I don't freak out too much about what I do and don't have. I try to just manage that so I don't have too much stress. So I know what I need to work on, but I don't do it with a huge urgency, like, oh, I've got to do this now, and I don't go into debt to deal with it. It's just a way of life. I just keep moving forward, and I think it's important for those of us with a preparedness mindset to just keep moving, start where you are and keep moving forward, because that's all we can do. And none of us can handle the intense stress that can come with worrying about what's going on in the world and all the reasons we prep and what we don't have. And so I just want to encourage you to keep moving forward from where you are and know that you're doing the best you can, but not to put undue pressure on yourself to have certain things done by certain times. And do not go into debt for this. You can do this without going into debt. So hopefully I can help you with that. And just another thing about us, and you're going to find this out, is that we're entrepreneurs, and we always have multiple irons in the fire. And sometimes our friends' heads spin because they cannot relate. But the kind of people we are is we have a main business that supports our family, but we have different arms of that business. And we've got kids, our kids, working in different arms of those businesses to teach them job skills and to give them an opportunity to earn money and to learn things. So they each have a different area that they're working. And some of this is homestead type things related. Some of it is not, it's just entrepreneurial type stuff. But those are the kinds of things you'll probably hear about a lot. Like I said, we're looking at expanding our property a little bit. And so if that happens, there'll actually be a lot of exciting things coming down that I'll get to share with you. And just, we're really excited about that. We were just discussing it before before my husband took off for shooting. We were just discussing some of our future plans, and it's just exciting. And what's really interesting about my husband and I is we have the exact same personality profile, and we are both entrepreneurial. So anyway, those are the kinds of things. Education and skills are what we focus on a lot with our kids, what we would recommend that everyone else focus on. And then the other thing is, and that's something also that we're really experienced at, we're both extroverts, and networking and building community. That is probably, it might even be more important than expanding your skills. I don't know. They're neck and neck in importance for prepping. You expand your skills, you learn how to do things, and you network, and you build a community of people that it doesn't have to be a community of preppers, but you're building your community around you, your network around you of people who have mutual respect and admiration for you, and you feel the same way about them. That way, even if you never discuss preparedness, you have those people to use as a resource if anything were to happen, and vice versa. So those are, okay, the noise is a given. I have 7 kids. This is the way it is. So there will often be noise in the background. I'm just hoping there's no blood. Actually, I think I might need to pause it for a sec, just a sec. Okay, yeah, so that's kind of typical at my house. There's always a lot of noise, and that's why if I do any kind of cooking type food prep videos, I might have to voice over it, and that is the reason, just so you know. Normal noise is normal noise, and it's not going to bother me, but I think if you want to hear what I'm saying, if I'm doing a cooking video or something, or a food prep video, and you want to hear what I'm saying, I might have to voice over it, which means I'll have to figure out how to do that. And I am not techie. I mean, people think I am. I'm good at Facebook. Anyway, I film videos for some of my online groups and different things, and I find I enjoy it. I started this channel in 2011 when I was pregnant with my sixth child, and the reason I didn't continue with it at that time is I didn't have the technology, or I couldn't figure out the technology. So that's, when it comes to video and all that stuff, I'm a little bit at a loss. But I really wanted to do it at the time, and there's just so many things have happened between now and then. And I realized that was 8 years ago. It was February 2011 when I started. So anyway, that was almost 8 years ago. My channel has been sitting with nothing on it until a few weeks ago, and one of my fellow preppers started his channel, and I got jealous. So shout out to Modern Refugee. Check out his channel. He is really a great source of information, and a really generous person to share his information with everyone. And I'm just really excited that he started his channel. But I got a little jealous. I thought I want to pick that back up again. And I do a lot of different things online, but this is one of the things that I haven't really done a lot of. And I thought, well, I think I'm ready to do that now. And hey, I have an iPhone, so hopefully that'll work really well for me. So anyway, if you want to hear about prepping, if you want to hear about prepping with a large family, if you want to hear about prepping with health issues like high blood pressure and food sensitivities and special needs kids, then you've landed in the right spot, and I'd like to encourage you to subscribe. and check out my videos, and hopefully you'll be able to learn something from them, or we'll be able to learn from each other. But either way, I think that this is going to be a fun project. I'll probably have some of my boys helping me out with it. My girls are a little young, and one of them is disabled, so I don't know how much she would be involved, but I'd like to get my boys involved, and they like to work on prepping projects with me. They love the MREs, like I said, but they like to pack the car bag and just do other things, and they like to learn this stuff. And so come along with me and see how we do things, and know that I am not perfect. I'm not a perfect prepper. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the skills, but I've learned a lot in the last several years that I would love to share with you, and I would love it if you would love to share some stuff with me too, especially when it comes to gardening, because I have to say, I was born with a black thumb, and I just keep trying, and I've been somewhat successful gardening just from trying for the last 10 years, but I would like to be more successful and more knowledgeable, and I would like to have a greenhouse, so that's something that I'm interested in expanding. Seed savings, another thing I'd like to work on, but all in good time, right? And as I am able. So at this point, we have raised beds and fruit trees and plans for more, and I would love to share those with you. So tune in next week. I'm probably going to talk about something food related. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Like I said, I cook a lot. I'd like to help people in cooking with food preps, and helping them decide what are good options for food storage. Even if you don't have a restricted diet, just helping you figure out new options or introducing you to new ideas when it comes to food. I would love to do that. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.